Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we are back for another kind of get ready with me situation. You will probably see by the title though, we are actually going to be talking about the new palette from Gourmande Girls, which is the Trapped palette. This is actually sent to me in PR, so massive shout out to Gourmande Girls for sending this to me. This is going to be part of a larger collection. I'll probably hopefully have a photo popping up. So this is going to be a pretty massive collection. Everything will already be up. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be purchasing more from the collection. I kind of want to see, like, I've not watched anybody else's videos, so I will have to do that. So the palette itself is going to be $55.99, which, you know, is a little higher up there. Unfortunately, most indie brands now, their high shadow palettes are, I would say, they're at $56 range. Of course, hopefully we don't know, but with tariffs and everything as they currently are, they might be going up in the future. I kind of really hope not, but I guess we'll see. One thing I do love that they do have an option for is going to be a PR box kind of idea, which is pretty cool. So that will include the palette, a highlighter, and two lipsticks or two lippies for $105. Now granted, that is an investment. I completely get that. But I think for the price, like if you kind of break it down, I'm assuming it would be about some sort of a deal. So I think that if this like speaks to you, this collection, I would go for it. Like if you are vibing with it and feeling the high, you know, I feel like if you find what you want, I would definitely go for it. Let's go ahead and just talk through the palette like this while we're going. So again, this is the palette. This is so cute. And they did sneak peek this like, I think a year ago or earlier this year, and a part of me was like, oh, maybe they're not coming out with it because they said summer. But I get that when they had done their Nightshade, which is the one that I fell in love with originally, they also released it around this time period. So it really does kind of make sense because this is supposed to be kind of, I think, a continuation. They're saying the beast that birthed, spooked, Nightshade, and haunted is here and she's hungry. So here is this gorgeous palette here. I'm so sorry if my lighting is horrible. I hopefully will have a couple other pictures, but I did go ahead and do some swatches. You know, let me just unlock my screen. Hopefully that helped a little bit. So I did just kind of do some rough swatches of the shades, and I would say everything did swatch pretty well, which I do love. The only shade that I will point out, which I think that it will perform well in the eyes. I don't know if it's in, for one, it's a purple. I've heard that, oops, sorry. Purples can really be hard to, like, they're very hard to like formulate sometimes, but it is this shade right here. What is that shade called? Digested? Oh, love that name. But it is that shade. It is right here. I don't think it looks bad. I did swatch it 2 times. Like, you get the full pigmentation, but when I did like swatch the first time, I just noticed it seemed like a teensy little bit patchy, but it did build up. I will be curious just to see how it looks in the eye. It probably will look good, but I did want to point that out just if you are curious. I will also say a couple of the shades, which are shades, unfortunately, that are the more glimmery ones, are going to be, I believe that slightly, what is that formula, you know, where it's a bit more, I would just consider it like you can move it a little bit with your finger. I would not say that these are super movable. I've definitely tried other brands that I think they are crazy movable, like the Profusion, that Castor palette, the newer one. That one has some that are like extremely movable. These really are not. They're just a little bit. So I would say the 2 shades that I noticed it the most are going to be this shade right here, also your kind of speckled textured shade here, and then I did have a little bit with this kind of, I think it's like a purpley bluey silver. I feel like it's looking more silver on camera. This one's just a teeny bit, but most of the shimmers in this palette are firm, like firmer, but like really shimmery. I just noticed that, like I said, a couple of them had that kind of texture, so I did want to point that out to you, just in case that's something that like discourages you. I would hope they still are going to work well on eyes. Unfortunately, I don't really have issues with the creasage on my eyes, so I can't really test it out, sadly, but I do think these are really, really good. And again, with my experience of Gourmande Girls, I'm gonna hope that they're going to lay well in the eyes, but who knows, and hopefully we shall see, I guess. All right, so going along with that, things I also want to talk to you about is, there goes my mirror. My first thoughts when looking at this palette, the biggest thing that I love, especially as I swatched, is this quadrant right here. Hopefully my mirror is okay. This little quadrant right here will kind of eliminate this shade, even though it's like super gorgeous. This is like Depth City, which for me as like a color lover, but also like kind of a dark lover, has what I want. What I love is that all three of these are very dark. I would say they're blackened, but they're not black in my opinion, at least for what I can see. Of course, keep in mind, I'm a little bit colorblind, but I would say, so swatched here, they all look super deep. I do believe this is like a super deep green, and these both to me look like variations of like a darker plum. This would be like more darker plum, and this kind of has some more red. Again, for me as a color lover, a person who tends to go very, at times, monochrome with their makeup, I really do appreciate that there is such depth, and that is something I would say I always really appreciate that Gourmande Girls does have, at least again for myself, is a good variety of mid-tone shades, lighter shades, and some really good deep shades for myself or anybody else who just wants that depth. Of course, you can use them as like liners, things like that, but I love depth in my palettes, and it really just makes it a standout palette for me. All right, continuing on, the look I'm really thinking of going with is, I tend to love greens. I don't know if I'm gonna do the thing that people do where they do like two different eye looks. I guess we'll kind of see as we're talking about, you know, normal get ready with me kind of idea, and just see, because this is after work, I'm probably just gonna wash my face once I am done. I really do want to play with this shade here. It does look like a pretty metallic silver. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's a very metallic silver. It is super duper gorgeous. I'm not getting much of that red when I swatch. Let me try. I feel like there's like a little bit, but I feel like really you're just getting a pretty true silver. You can mix them together and they do kind of turn copper, which is kind of cool. But I'm going to mainly focus on the kind of center silver, which I think is extremely like a really gorgeous silver. But again, I'm thinking of focusing on the grain. So I don't know. I think we're just going to like wing it and go with it. One thing I will also say about this palette is I do feel like there are two shades and I'm kind of like about, which is going to be this one and this one. And when I say about, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in like it's gonna like stretch my creativity, because I wouldn't normally reach for those with the looks that I see myself creating. But like, I think I'm gonna have to, not have to, but like I'm going to like definitely be doing that. I don't know if I'll be doing it today. I do plan to film though multiple shorts with this, just again, so if you do have this palette, or also I did not talk about yet, of course we'll talk about it more, but as my kind of goal of doing more like less purchasing at times, I hope I can give you ideas, even if you decide to not purchase this palette, that maybe you can pull from your collection for similar shades and kind of create a same kind of vibe, if that hopefully makes sense. I think we'll just go ahead and get started. Also, before I forget, you can use my code Maddie if you do want to purchase this palette. It is, what is that word? I get a kickback, basically. I get some kickback, so feel free to use it if you want to. Definitely don't feel the need to. I really don't want this to be a buy something new, especially because you all know that I'm trying to be better with my budget, so only buy it if you want to. And again, I'm sure this palette is going to be available for quite a long time, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, let's get started. All right, we are zoomed in a little bit, and I did lock. Oh my lord, what is going on? Apparently the universe does not want me to use that other mirror, so back to my Casper Profusion mirror that I bought a couple of years ago. Love this one. I think they still have it available. It's so cute and random. I know that we're trying to like not talk about shopping. I apologize. But these earrings, I feel like they're so cute. I found them, judge me, I found them at Walmart the other day when I was there, and I think they were like $5, which is like super affordable. I feel like I'm just gonna start taking one of the deeper shades. I'm gonna take the plummy shade through my brows just to like re-deepen them. I feel like for like Halloween jewelry, I guess any kind of jewelry seasonally, but because I like to try to keep it spooky year round, when I see something that I feel like can translate to like any time of year, which like, I mean, I would hope so, you know, ghost cat earrings, love that, or not ghost, but skeleton earrings. I think it's a good idea to pick it up because I don't know, variety makes me like so freaking happy. Random. This shade, I know I already have like another shade underneath, but the pigment is totally there, which I'm not surprised. Gourmande Girls has such great pigmentation with their shades. But anyways, okay, so how have you all been doing this week? Or I know this is gonna come out on a Monday, so I guess, how was your week last week? How was your weekend, or was your weekend, if you did anything for the weekend? My week was pretty okay. I do want to be honest and say that I did fail a little bit on my low buy. I was being a little irresponsible. Now, I will preface to say, first things first, it was my birthday, as some of you know, in August 2nd. So I was sent some money from my mom and my aunt that I did not use. I was saving it up for a camera, which some of it will still be going towards that. But I did, let's say, have a little adult beverage and decided to get myself a eyeshadow palette, or a couple. Funny enough, so Gourmande Girls has a sale going on. I don't know if they still do, on one of their palettes that I do not have, and it was $10. So I decided to pick that up. It might still be available. Hopefully have it pictured popping up. And they had, I've been wanting to try out their mascara and their glitter primer. So I decided just to pick all three up together. So I did that, and then I was like, you know what? I think I might as well just buy another palette, which I know ridiculous, but I was like, I want to buy the Nomad palette. I know we just talked about it last video, but I decided to pick it up. So it is here. I have played with it a couple times. I'm assuming, or I'm not assuming, I'm thinking we'll play with it again, or play with it next week. But here is, it's in all of its glory. Did I need it? Of course not. But, you know, technically it was a birthday gift, so I'm trying to be more like chill on it. Obviously, again, my goal is to be on a low buy, not on a complete no buy. I don't think I could do that, but I think that a low buy is the most realistic, especially for my budget. Okay, I'm trying to think. I feel like it's just gonna work the best if I do this how I might normally do when I'm doing a get ready with me. Is it kind of just not necessarily tutorial based, just kind of we play around with some makeup and we just go with it. So hopefully that's okay with you. Let me know your feelings if you don't like that, but I can just kind of tell you as I guess isn't going. I'm mainly just going to focus on the greens, so the dark greens fading into lighter greens, if that is beneficial for you. But anyways, the low buy idea of being on a low buy, which I'm really going to be focusing on and making it a big priority. I think for a second I was going to go more on a not necessarily no buy, but kind of. It kind of in a way was on a no buy, and I still need to figure out what are going to be like the rules of my no buy or my low buy. I can't decide if I necessarily want to do a budget. I mean, probably, but I think that I still kind of want to make sure though that I don't feel this pressure to spend my budget. I feel like because I'm trying to do content, or like I like doing content creation, that I think there's this pressure, which even I'm sure any of us who are in the beauty community, because even before I was doing content creation, when I was just watching, I wanted to have everything new. I wanted to have all the new stuff. I felt, you know, it's like this, I don't know, I think that it's in our society with how bad sometimes things are, it is just a nice way to comfort ourselves, or if we did a good job. I think for me, I don't want to ever be completely away from that, but I don't want to be so crazy that I just like go off the end, because I really want to just prioritize like paying off debt and saving and really thinking of my future. I don't tend to think about it a lot, and or if I do, I just more think of it like I feel like I've always just kind of had this mentality, and I would love to know if any of you can relate to this, that you just think, you know what, one day I'll just make it. One day I'll just make it and I'll have all this money and I'll be good. And granted, I mean, that'd be fabulous if that actually happened, but who knows if that's going to happen, you know what I mean? So, and even if it is, hey, better to be out of debt if and when it does happen. But I think a big part of my mentality as I've grown up, or grown more, you know, as an adult now, is I really kind of want to just have just enough. I don't need to have excessiveness. I don't ever want to be crazy excessive. I want to have what I have, appreciate it the best that I can, And in those moments where, you know, if I can afford it, treasure the things that I have, the things that I'm lucky enough to have. And I think that it's really important, especially in this time period where, you know, if you are in the US, but I do know that it is affecting a lot of other places. But right now for us with tariffs, it's very like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, you know, as a customer, is everything which is going to be really expensive? Our groceries going to be really expensive? Am I really just going to have to learn to prioritize? And even with that, it just, I just really, with financial, I really just want to try and get myself into a much better spot than I currently find myself, the best that I can be. You know, we can't help everything, but the best that we can be. That is a big reason why I really want to be better on paying off my debt. One really cool thing, I don't know if I've talked about it with you, I don't think so, is I, as of last month, officially paid off my car, which is pretty exciting. I have been paying on my car going on 7 years, I think, and I'm really happy that I did get it paid off. I'm hoping it lasts me. It's a 2017 Chevy Equinox, if anybody knows car stuff, and I know, like, I've heard that Chevy Equinoxes are not the best of car, but I've tried to do all the oil changes and everything to make sure that hopefully it lasts me a long time, and I don't have to drive that much. Like, I don't even think my car's at 100,000 miles yet, so that's good. So I'm really hoping that I can make it last a long time, but I do also want to be smart in the fact that, of course, eventually it will not last forever and I will have issues with it and need to get a new car, and I just need to prioritize savings. I'm trying to think, let's just do the silver in the front. I just want to see, because it's so, I mean, it felt so pigmented. Ooh, it's just, this is a really, like, wow, a really good silver, very like shimmer. I'm hoping that next week's video, I can more kind of break down a bit more of my debt and my goals with you all. I did have one of you had commented last week's video and thought it might be a good idea for me to talk more about like my debt and stuff, and I agree, a lot of us can relate to being in debt, and I think that we can be each other's like cheerleader to help us stay out of debt, and then also enjoying the makeup that we already have, so we don't necessarily always feel tempted to buy like the newest thing. I love this green, it's so good. Ooh, it's so pretty. I'm feeling like very like I feel like I could totally do like a evil witch, or like not witch, but like, what is that one called, you know, the character, the Disney one, the Evil Queen. Is that what she's called? The Evil Queen. I don't know if her makeup's green, but I always just think that like my like everyday elongated eye, I'm kind of obsessed with. I really do think that next week I am going to come with some like plans to talk about debt. I would love to know your thoughts, because I guess it'll probably help me out the most. For the people who are interested in hearing about it, do you want to hear like do we want to have a little like running like total of debt like paid off, so we can kind of celebrate as we go? Because I think that'd be kind of cool to have in our little community. I'm realizing that because my video, at least for me, I never have my long form videos perform that well. Like, I got almost 500 views in a pretty quickly amount of time, so I'm like super stoked about that. So I'm really hoping that this is something that in our community I'm thinking that a lot of people are definitely in the same boat that I am, where we are wanting to be realistic with our budget, because makeup is so expensive and there is just seriously so much makeup coming out all the time, and I can't afford it. And I think that we shouldn't always be, you know, trying to force ourselves to do things we can't afford. I really hope to be kind of at least part of your journey in helping, at least just to remind you that you don't need that thing. You know, be it, I would love to know your ideas, be it if I should pull a Kimberly Clark and do an anti-haul every now and again. I have not seen an anti-haul in so long. I remember Abby, I'm blanking on the name, but they used to do anti-hauls for a minute and they kind of just stopped doing YouTube. I do believe that they're back, but I really did enjoy doing their anti-hauls. I kind of want to do an anti-haul Like at times I've wanted to, but I don't know. You know, definitely let me know your thoughts about anti-hauls. I feel like as I feel myself transitioning from what I was doing for a minute with my content, I'm more trying to think of what ideas are going to be fun things. And some of it honestly might just be this. Just chatting, just being real, just having fun and enjoying our collection. Maybe we really have missed that part of YouTube where it was just more fun, you know, and it was just more, there wasn't always this constant pressure, and it maybe, I don't know, I really feel like some of us just want to get back to that. And I think in truth, for our financial, that really is going to be where it's at, especially for me. Hello. Your girl needs to save some moolah. All right, so I went ahead and just kind of finished this up on this other side. So far, I would say, Gourmande girls, this is another banger. Good job, obviously crushing it with this palette. Such a good one. I definitely do recommend, again, only if it is in the budget for you. And of course, you can wait, you can think about it, give it some thoughts, rate your collection, see if you really feel like you need it, save up if you feel like you want it. Again, I would definitely say if you are feeling like you want to buy this palette, I would definitely recommend using a code. Anybody's code, doesn't have to be mine. Or even waiting for Black Friday, they might have a bigger discount. And there's going to be really beneficial things for us people who want to buy so many makeup but really maybe can't afford it. I think that you definitely can wait. So that way when you are actually able to afford it, it feels more treasured and worth it. I think that that really is going to be the best bet for all of us who are trying to pay off debt but still want to like enjoy our makeup. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And definitely let me know what you thought of this video. I am so excited to hear your thoughts about hopefully my goals for next week's video and what we were going to be chatting about. But yeah, I just enjoyed being here with you, playing with some fun makeup. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please subscribe if you did enjoy this content. I absolutely love to have you here. And I hope you're having a great rest of your day. All right, bye.